You mentioned fear, and the fear of not making it to the NFL. Do you ever feel like that fear held you back when you were playing?
Yeah, definitely. I would say that fear of not making it to the NFL, the adjacent factor in that is the fear of making mistakes and what would happen if I made a mistake. And I think, especially early on in my college career, I didn't allow myself to make mistakes, which then made me play tentatively, and playing tentatively is just not a recipe for success in any way at high level athletics. And so that mindset in general definitely impacted me, especially early on in my college career.
So let's get to your college career, and I certainly don't want to skip over your amazing high school career because you were the number one QB recruit in the class of 2013, I believe, for a very good reason because you absolutely dominated at Skyline High School, I believe. So, I just mindset in high school, did you have the mindset of I want to be the best QB, I want to go to a top ranked football program, I want to make the NFL, or did you kind of just stumble into that?
The former, very much the former. Yeah, I mean, I can remember first grade recess, first time you're out there, balls rolled out. I was quarterback from day one. I can remember first padded practice, third grade. My team was the only team in the league that threw the football. I was quarterback. Like it, and I loved it. Like that was the dream. It wasn't some sort of thing that like my parents were pushing on me or anything like that. Like I was very much wired that way. I was the kid that would go home and watch Sports Center for 4 hours and then NFL Network for another 3 hours after that. Like this was not only the dream, but this was the calling. This was the purpose. And then I was lucky enough to grow up in a suburbs outside of Seattle. I went to a public school called Skyline, and in the run that I was there, we were nationally rated pretty much every year, which is like unheard of for a public school in the suburbs of Seattle, Washington. Not a private school, not illegally recruiting. Like the run that we had in our little Sammamish pocket was special. I say that because it was very much a football community. Rich in tradition, a lot of state championships, the whole deal. And so it was again from age 5 all the way up until I was 18. It was like this was the mission, this was the calling. And then when I got to sophomore, junior year, my high school had a rich tradition and great in-state high school quarterbacks. And so I always just kind of had in my mind that, like, you go play for a blue blood program. Like my parents went to Idaho, so I didn't really have like the hometown tie to Washington or anything like that. And I just was always in my DNA that you go play with the best. And so, when offers started coming in, I was really only interested in the blue blood programs, and sure enough, landed at USC.
What's that experience like being recruited? How just in general, how did it make you feel? Like what was actually going down, and why did you eventually choose USC?
Yeah, I was hyper aware of not letting. I was just always, and it maybe worked against me in college because I was always. I think I'm a people pleaser. I care what people think about me. But the good side of that is in high school. I never wanted to be the arrogant douchebag in high school, or like I'd hope that most people I went to high school with were like, yeah, Max Browne was like the cool dude. I mean, he was. We could go up to him and say what's up, even though he was the 5-star number one quarterback recruit in the country. So I was always wary of that dynamic. So some of the things you see in the movies of like guys being the arrogant, cocky guy at the party and all that, and that stuff. I hope people don't say that about me. I don't think they would, but I was always wary of that dynamic. So it wasn't as much as like this out of body, like, I walk on water type of thing. I think it was very much just, my best friends in high school, a lot of them were my best friends in elementary school. And again, it felt fitting. It felt like this was part of the mission. This was part of the cause. It wasn't some, oh my gosh, I can't believe we're here. It was like, nah, dude, we've been training for this since we were in fourth grade kind of thing, which again, kind of sounds crazy as I say that out loud as a 30-year-old, but that was the Kool-Aid that I was drinking. And I couldn't have imagined a childhood any other way. And to button it all up, there's a quote that when I won the Gatorade National Player of the Year, they had me like say a few words, and like I genuinely mean it. I had like the fairy tale childhood career, like genuinely, or childhood upbringing in terms of, again, public school, won state titles with my high school homies, got all the awards, went to the dream school as a quarterback. I mean, we're not even talking like a basketball player, like All-American quarterback, that kind of thing. It was amazing, man.
Did you also date a cheerleader in high school? Because that would
Yeah, good
complete
question.
that would complete the high
Uh,
school fairy tale.
Literally. I did not. Did have a girlfriend in high school. Not a cheerleader though.
Why USC though? Because I think you got recruited by Oklahoma, Washington, Alabama. I mean, you're the number one QB recruit. Why not go to a school like Bama?
Well, people forget, but at the time, that offseason, USC was the number one team in the country. So that's when Matt Barkley, Robert Woods, Marquise Lee were coming back. So it wasn't as, not that USC's random, but USC at that time was like, hey, there's a runway where USC is going to be back. And I also think as a 30-year-old, like I'm literally the prime age of, I was in fourth and fifth grade when USC was in the national title games and won 2003. I was in third grade when they won their first national title. So again, as a West Coast kid, USC was the pinnacle of college football. And so fast forward when I'm third grade to then senior in high school, you get that call, you get that opportunity, and then a bunch of tactical reasons too. Like USC didn't take a quarterback in the class above me. I had an opportunity to start as a true freshman. Getting the USC degree, living in Southern California. There was just nothing not to like about USC outside of the sanctions, which I probably underestimated the negative impact of USC being on sanctions. But you can't win all the factors.
And how do the recruiting visits usually go?
Yeah, so it was a different rules when I was there, partly because of my generation of quarterbacks, where every school only takes one quarterback, so it's kind of a musical chairs domino effect situation where guys are kind of waiting on me to commit, and then all the schools kind of trickle out and find their guy from there. And you could not take official visits until your September 1st of your senior year when I was in college or when I was in high school. And I committed as a junior in high school, which was very normal, like April of my junior year. So they changed the rules because that doesn't make sense. You should be able to use your official visits before, the society tells you it's time to commit kind of thing. So I only took one official visit, USC. I took unofficial visits, went to Oklahoma once, did a Midwest swing, Wisconsin, Notre Dame, Michigan. But I didn't, to your earlier question, like I reined in the chaos that can happen with recruiting pretty intentionally. I was not a guy that was talking to a new coach on the phone every day after high school. Like that to me was daunting, and I hated the idea of kind of playing games with coaches. So I got recruited, don't get me wrong. I got a bunch of offers, don't get me wrong, but it was not the circus that it is for some guys.